Hi everyone, it's great to see you. If you are like me, you are spending a lot of time out in the garden with all of your beautiful flowers. And also if you are like me, then you are finding that sometimes you forget where you planted things and the names of certain flowers. So I have 3 recommendations that I'm going to share with you today. Take them or leave them, and I would love to have your recommendations down in the comments below on what's working for you to remember all of the important plants that are in the garden. So my first recommendation is to try not to remember everything in your garden. I have done this many, many times. I get a really important plant and I think, oh, I'm just gonna plant this here, and it's super important. I love this one. I'm gonna remember that I put it here. And inevitably I forget. There is one daylily that I moved at the end of last summer. I remember moving it. I remember saying to myself, oh, this is a better spot. I'm gonna be able to see it. Cannot remember where that daylily is right now. So don't do that. We will all forget things as we go along. The second recommendation I have is to not rely solely on drawing a map of your garden. This is a great idea, and if you're organized, it can be a piece of the puzzle for keeping everything straight. But as gardeners, we know that there are many last-minute transfers of plants around the garden, something that you have to dig up and save and put in a different place, and it can be hard. We miss some of those pieces that go down into the formal recording part. So my third recommendation here then is definitely to use some type of solid, really weatherproof name tag system out in your garden. And I'm going to share with you mine, and I hope to hear from you on what works really well for you. So about 5 or 6 years ago, I started using these metal name tags. They are weatherproof. I use a P-Touch label maker, and I'll link this below, that has a laminated, clear, self-adhesive sticky part to it, so you can print the name of your plant, stick it on, put it in the garden. And these, literally, they're going on year 6 now. I can still read them really clearly, and I'm really, really happy with how the system is working for me. You can get the short little stakes here that are about 6 inches tall. I find that these, of course, they're only gonna stick into the ground, maybe 3 or 4 inches. I find that they're easier to step on, and then I also find that sometimes in the fall cleanup these get raked up, so I tend to use them more for my annuals that don't have to be there year to year. I use the long, extra large stakes that are about 2 feet tall for my perennials. They both come with the same little nameplate tags here. At first I thought this would be too tall, but then I found out, first of all, you can stick them really deeply in the ground so that they don't stick up as tall as they look like they might. And then they also don't get torn out of the ground as easily. It also really, really helps with your taller plants that grow a lot of foliage. In the spring, before those plants come up, they look like these really tall metal stakes sticking out. And then once the foliage leaves out, you're like, wow, it needed to be that tall in order for me to read that particular tag. So I'm gonna take you outside and show you some of my tags there. And then I'm gonna post some pictures of daylilies I have now labeled unnamed or unknown, because I got them before I started this labeling system. I love them, but I don't know their names anymore, but I still want to share them with you. So I hope you enjoy those too. So let's go outside. So here we are back by my daylily bed where these really have come in handy, and I want to show you both sizes. So here we have the larger size, the extra large, that are the 2-foot size, and you can see that in the midst of all this foliage, they really don't seem too tall. And then way down here in the corner, I have an example of the 6-inch. And this particular one I used because I ran out of the taller type, and you can really tell that it does seem a little on the small side. So back in my shade garden, I tend to use the shorter stakes towards the front. And then in the back, I have my taller plants, and I tend to use the taller ones back there. So I know that my Aurelia cordata that I planted the other day is going to get to be quite tall. So I'm very comfortable putting this in. Now the tricky thing is finding a spot that doesn't have a root there. Okay, there we go. So I hope this was helpful for you, and I would love to hear from all of you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. And here are a few daylilies in my garden that I've lost the names of along the years before I started using the current tagging system that I have. However, I still love them very much. If you recognize any of them, please let me know which ones they are.